The presentation of today's racing program is a copyrighted broadcast of the New York Racing Association, Incorporated. Any rebroadcast, recreation, or retransmission of this broadcast without the expressed written consent of the New York Racing Association, Incorporated is strictly prohibited.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Aqueduct. At this time, we ask that you please rise, if you are able. Remove your caps as we honor America with the national anthem. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the New York Racing Association and live racing from Aqueduct, a Sunday afternoon. 9 races on today's card. The track is fast. Here are today's early scratches and changes. Race 1 is the start of the early pick 5. The 4 is +1. The 6, 2 pounds over. And the 7, 1 pound overweight. Race 2, beginning of the early pick 4, is clear. No changes. Race 3, beginning of the middle pick 4, no changes. Race 3 is clear. Race 4, start of the pick 6, no changes. Race 5, start of the late pick 5, is clear. No changes. Race 6 is the beginning of the late pick 4. No changes in today's 6th race. Race 7, the 5 is +2. The 7, 1 pound overweight. In race 8, scratch the 4, East Coast Girl. Scratch the 4 in race 8. And in race 9, scratch the 1, Oh Trouble. Scratch the 4, Mass Marauder. Scratch the 10, Caribbean. Scratch numbers 1, 4, and 10 in race number 9. Track is fast, getting set to close out another weekend at the Big A. 9 races coming your way, and Talking Horses is next with your hosts Andy Serling and the Big A, Anthony Stabile. Good luck.
good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Talking Horses. Anthony and Andy as we get ready for a 9-race card here on Sunday. As always, head over to NYRA Bets. If you don't have a NYRA Bets account, no better time than the present to sign up. Use promo code BONUS200. We will match the $200 of your initial deposit. Once again, we have that middle pick 4 today. That'll be in race number 3, 2, 3, and 6 on our 9-race card today for pick 4s. We have a $15 bonus. You have to opt in over at NYRA Bet. Bet 50 or more here, Oaklawn and Santa Anita, and you'll get $15 back. And finally, last but not least, 3 to 6 today, covering all the action from 3 to 6 at least here and Oaklawn Park. As we start off the card in race number 1, you've got a horse for Linda Rice, who's won 10 of the last 12 races she's been in. And other than that sort of wacky performance in the last race yesterday that got a 91 buyer, they've been very logical horses, and she might have found herself again in a race that she just almost has to win.
Yeah, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't pick against this horse. I know this horse is getting dropped and cut in half off the claim. Fact of the matter is, this horse debuted for 30. I don't know, Andy.
No, it's a ridiculous
I think you picked the only horse that you could possibly pick against this horse, and who wants to take a $20,000 maiden at 2 to 5? I did it because I couldn't do it, but at least you took a horse, the connections. When they ship up here, they ship up for a reason, and this horse's first time on the circuit, I guess, is the only horse you could really take against a favorite.
Okay, we'll move on to race number 2. Race number 2, speaking of Linda Rice again, and you know, she's winning an abundance of races, but she's just running horses that are just, I mean, you look at the prices and you look at the horses that are winning. As we look at Drink the Wind, yeah, last time was the time for Drink the Wind. I just don't know who the real options are here. I picked the 2 Charger second. Not a big fan of Charger. It was really more by default. I tried to make a case for Winner's Laugh, but I think there's a strong chance that Winner's Laugh just can't run anymore. Winner's Laugh's going to have to go to the front along with Drink the Wind, hold that one off, and then hold off the closers. And unless you think Cousin Andrew's going to get a sudden resurgence after his form seems to have left him as well, where are you supposed to go in this race?
And his form left him, and Linda got lucky. They took this horse for the quarter, Cousin Andrew. He came back for the 35. He didn't run 2 steps. And now he's back in for the quarter. Good luck to them. And you'd say to yourself, well, Linda won for 40 and now the horse in for a quarter. Well, she won the starter, got 30,000 back. If this horse wins today and gets claimed for the quarter, she made money with this horse in 3 months.
Well, she also lost the non-winners of 2 lifetime condition by winning last time out. And yeah, she could go for non-winners of 3 lifetime. Do we run 40s in those? Maybe we do. Maybe she waits for it. And I agree, it's not a particularly great drop. But if you want to bet against these horses, you should, because they're very short-priced horses, and I have no problem with doing that.
But what are your options?
It's just, at this point, I'm not finding options, and unless you're going to make a case and say she's not going to show up. Now, Terms and Conditions got a big figure last time. Naked and Famous got a huge figure. Another horse for Linda, I don't know how much you can trust it, because where did that race come from for Terms and Conditions? But if Terms and Conditions runs back to an 80 buyer, he's going to be tough. But
did the sloppy seal track help him last time?
I don't know what it was. Maybe it was. I don't know. But I mean, you look at his other races, and he's a 30-to-1 shot in this race.
And he's going to be a third that price because of the last race.
As he probably should be,
Right.
I guess. And sometimes those last numbers do hold up, and you say, maybe I overcomplicated it. So we move on to the third race, another situation. At least it's not a Linda Rice horse in this case. It's Tom Morley, where Granny's Connection, who we'll look at winning last time out, I think this is an actually really good horse, and Tom Morley's taking advantage of the condition situation. He's running through conditions with her, and I mean, unless you are worried that coming back in 22 days, she's not going to show up.
That's it. I mean, I don't know, other than you worrying about the timing of the race, I don't know what else you're supposed to worry about here.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Linda claimed Happy Sophia from Randy Persaud. Horses claimed from Randy Persaud over the last 5 years on dirt are 3 for 20 with a 60-cent ROI. In sprints, they're 2 for 13, which sort of falls into the exact line. So people that think claiming from Randy Persaud is a really clever way to go are incorrect. The numbers claimed by Randy are really good. The numbers claimed from Randy, they're horrendous. And yeah, she's a horse that has some ability, and I think because it's Linda Rice, you have to pay attention at this point. But I don't want horses claimed from Randy Persaud, and I guess thinking it over is a little interesting, but if Granny's Connection shows up, and I think that 72 two-back was a race, and it was an odd race where Craig Wilkowski at Timeform had the figure much, much higher, much more congruous with the 88. it was a weird situation where it was sort of on the line of a track changing. But it turns out when you look at the race the horse ran next time that he probably made the right decision. And maybe Bayer's the one that had it a little low. Now you look at the other horses that she beat, it's hard to make it that much more than 72. But Gray's Connection feels like a horse that at least you can expect to run a figure around 80 or so, which is just better than everybody
She runs
here.
an 80, she'll drown these horses.
Right. I mean, I guess you could say Happy Sophia's hovered around it, to be fair. And maybe she does move up in the train. History says they don't move up being claimed from Randy Brazone. But I don't think it's impossible that the horse moves up claim from her. Everybody else is just in a different stratosphere, unless you think Jamie Ness is going to work some sort of miracle with Starship Lauban, but based on what?
And I didn't have the stat, obviously, for Happy Sophia. You just, from watching these races, you just know that the horses that common sense would tell you that Linda's going to improve over Randy. You just don't see it happen. Randy's horses, they don't go the right way more often than not when they leave Randy's barn.
Tough guy to claim.
Yeah, tough guy to claim off of.
Race number 4. Well, same principle for you with the top pick with Bravo Regina, the Ritchie's World Stables. For people who are not familiar with them, this is a stable that had horses with Juan Vasquez here last year, is not running horses anymore. And they, you look at yesterday's first winner, a horse that I picked, and I agree, I picked it because of the connections. They're the ones that had that horse that got put up. That was that somebody made a fortune betting that horse because every single multi-race bet pool got absolutely smashed. Right,
yeah.
Right. The disqualification on Dylan Davis when they put up Trevor McCarthy in his first turn back. This is an operation that you have to keep your eye on, and that's why I picked the horse first yesterday, because you could not pick that horse in the first yesterday in his form. His previous race was absolutely atrocious.
Co-favorite.
And, I mean, especially when you get to races like this, where form is at a premium, I don't blame you for leaning on a horse from these connections. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, does the form even matter?
All 4 months, maybe needed the race. Run Devil came back to win yesterday.
It doesn't. I'm not even sure. And by the way, looking at the PPs, horse a major contender anyway.
Right. When you look at the PPs, I'm sick of April. I'm kind of sick of April Antics, Caribbean Breeze.
We're not even there yet at April.
I'm sorry.
I said we're not even in April.
No,
yet.
right. Caribbean
It's a bad
Breeze,
joke.
Freudian. I mean, I don't.
I agree. But, I'll tell you something about Caribbean Breeze. We will show you a replay of the last race. I think you look at that race, second place finisher came back and proved 13 buyer points. The third place finisher came back and proved 25 buyer points back. Horses have come out of that race and run. So I'm wondering a little bit if maybe that was a little bit of a better race than it looked like. And in this field, considering it's Linda, how much better if the race should have given her a 48
Doesn't
instead of a 40 of a 40?
Claim for 40 and in for 16. Now that's the rule of
Was
thumb.
a stupid claim. I mean, I'm sorry, with all due respect, claiming horses
100%.
for 40 out of maiden 40s around here in the winter.
100%.
I mean,
Claim for 40 in for 16.
Where are you going with
That's what you're supposed to do.
Right,
When
so why would
break
you
the
claim
maiden-
it?
But you're supposed to do that if. In theory, if you don't claim the horse, if you break the maiden for the 40, you cut the horse in half and
why
you run
would you?
against winners.
They claimed an even money shot in a $40,000 maiden
now you
race.
don't run for
The
2
worst
months
thing that
and you gotta
happens
cut the
is
horse
it
in half.
wins, and the best thing that happens is it wins because at least it's good enough to win a race. It's even money in. But I mean, I don't.
And you say to
I don't
yourself,
understand the mentality
like
of that.
Linda's smart enough to know when she makes what appears to be a bad claim, you try to cut bait.
Yeah. No, but that's fair. But I think it is a better race than it looks. I don't love this horse. I
Probably
just
going
feel
to
like
be
taking the 8
favorite.
again.
Based on the way the barn's going in this form,
The favorite's going to be Bravo Regina.
you think so?
Yeah. Look at how they bet the horse in the first race yesterday.
Probably.
That horse lost to that bad Pletcher horse in its prior race. Was fourth in one of the worst maiden races we've run here all winter.
Yeah.
That'll change though. But that was running the first race today. I think the first race is a heavy candidate for the worst maiden race we've run all winter. Today's first.
Oh no, it's I think it's the winner.
Yeah, I think it's a heavy favorite. I don't know if we're going to have those awards, but if we do, remind us about the first race.
This is the
on March
last winter
19th.
card. Winter officially ends on Tuesday, 21st.
It's not winter until we're on the turf. But I agree. It's tomorrow, right? It's tomorrow, like 5:20 or
Monday the 20th. Yeah.
It's sometime in the afternoon or evening or something. I don't really understand how that works. Anyway, I guess that's the solstice. Race number 5. Majority Partner is way the horse to beat in here. And once again, another Linda Rice horse that's the horse to beat. This was just an agonizingly tough beat, set a very fast pace, and just couldn't quite last over a promising horse who got a very good trip in Celestial Moon. I don't know. I'm not against it. I picked second because I just wanted to take somebody else, but you got a big argument against this horse?
No, kid did everything right too.
Yeah, just lost.
Everything right.
Just lost.
Yeah, just lost. I think the cutback's probably going to help a little bit.
Not gonna hurt him.
If it hurt. Yeah, not going to hurt. I think it'll help a little bit. No, I have no big argument against.
I mean,
I felt like Prisoner is going the right way.
You could
right
show
now.
his last race if you want.
Forget about the 3-horse field, 2 starts back. I thought this race was the race you wanted to bet him off of because he paired the 3-horse field.
Prisoner's last, guys?
And he just kept going. And this is a fast horse who, when he kind of finds his way, I guess we're not going to see Prisoner's last. He went really fast and he kept going. That was Prisoner's last race, since we're not going to see it apparently. And when Charlie Baker gets these horses pointed in the right direction, they can hold their form. He's been a horse that's been hard to keep on the racetrack. This is the first time ever he's made 4 races in a form cycle. This will be his 5th. And he's kind of raced his way back into shape, and he's just going good right now. And I'm gonna ride the wave a little bit. He has to deal with he's gonna have to deal with Trash Talker off the layoff. Here it is. He's gonna have to deal with Trash Talker early off the layoff. You would imagine. Trash Talker comes back from almost a year fresh. He's not as fast as him, but he's fast enough to put some pressure on. He's drawn inside of him, which I think is good. So Kendrick Carmouche, who's going to ride Trash Talker, will be outside of him. If I'm Torres, I just blast him off again, and I hope for the best.
Yeah, I don't like Prisoner at all. I like to book him in every slot in this race. As you said, he won a 3-horse field 2 back when he was the lone speed, and someone paid $480, should have paid $180. Last time out, he caught a super gold rail against a field that's significantly worse than these, and was allowed to boss them while having the track dramatically in his favor. And he's got a better horse outside of him with comparable speed, a majority partner, and as you mentioned, Trash Talker I don't particularly like, but he is out there and he has some speed as well. I'm not a fan of his, and I thought that the potential exists for this pace to at least be honest. And Ryan's Cat's a horse that interests me. Do I think he's going to beat majority partner? Probably not. But he was on a track where the rail was good last time, and he was caught chasing on the outside. And chasing horse Today's Flavor, who's been with the racetrack, and he's a little dressed up, but he's still pretty darn good. Time before that, he chased wide against a rail in that race. So he's a double horse, double races way against the track, and he's still running figures that aren't that bad. So to me, Ryan's Cat is clearly the alternative in this race majority partner. I'm not wildly against, but I'm hoping the face is fast enough, and while I don't like Prisoner, he's got to put some speed into this race. So I thought that he maybe make majority partner a little vulnerable, and I took Ryan's Cat. It's the first 5. We'll come back with the late pick 4 after a quick break.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Welcome back to Talking Horses. Race number 6, Linda Rice again. And this one, this is an interesting favorite, Valenzen Day. We'll show you the race 3 back, when the horse obviously ran a race would make her very tough in here, or him very tough. I know he was against better horses last time. He was wide, and the rail was very good last time out. But he was terrible in there, and now Linda's dropping this horse in for a quarter after claiming for 50. He might win, and this is why Linda wins a lot of races doing this, but against the track or not, I got some real questions about this guy after his last race. Anthony.
Yeah. I mean, throughout the Jerome, he didn't belong, but last time was track or no track. He just didn't run.
He didn't even have any speed.
Nothing.
I mean, it's not like Kendrick was just like dragging him back. He just had no speed. Kendrick wanted him to go forward. He had nothing. And if he chased a little bit wide, you say, well, he chased, the pace was hot, he was wide.
On him. He was going nowhere.
He was awful.
He was pedaling and scrubbing, and he was going nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, but
I'm a little more against him than you are. Yeah,
I'm not against him, but you've got, is it ROI or ROL, roll again? It's roll again dancer.
Yeah, roll again dancer.
It's just hard to read. We'll look at the Outlaw Country, roll again dancer. You like Outlaw Country?
Yeah, he was first time Lasix last time. Outlaw Country for Charlie. I think Charlie would have a good day today. The Hunter. The Switch got the job done cutting back from the mile to the 7/8 last time. It was first time Lasix. He got a good trip. He got a pretty good setup. I'm hoping for the same thing in here. He's got Roll Again Dancer to go to the lead. Now, Roll Again Dancer might have things a little easier in here, but he does have Lars up to the outside. Lars has some speed. I think there could be the two outside horses can set it up again for him, and I'm just hoping Outlaw Country can get the job done like he did last time.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, looking at the last race, I think Roll Again Dancer, I mean, you don't have to like either one of them, but it's very hard to imagine a scenario where they run similar races and Roll Again Dancer doesn't beat Outlaw Country. And it's not just Lars. You look at Lars, who set the pace in that race. He was beaten almost 60 lengths. But the other horse involved in the pace was beaten almost 30 lengths. Now, Lars was 2-1, and that horse was 8-1. So you've got two horses that were virtually eased, that were involved in the pace going 7 furlongs. And the horse that was pressing the pace, he finished second, beaten 2 lengths, as opposed to a horse that sat back and took advantage of that pace. So to me, I'm always going to take Roll Again Dancer out of the race. And I kind of handicapped the race without Valenzuela. I said, I'm not going to pick Valenzuela. I'm going to put him second. I get why he can win, but let me look at the race without him and take whoever I like. And to me, it's just no way you can't take Roll Again Dancer. I thought ran so well. And the other thing was that Frankie Pennington really sent him out of the gate last time. Now, he very well may have been riding to instructions. I'm not criticizing him, but he did. He was aggressive with this horse, and it obviously didn't really work out for him. So maybe in this situation, maybe Lars goes on the outside, he doesn't. He sort of stalks today and gets an easier trip. Hard to see the pace being as tough as it was. But at the end of the day, I don't trust Valenzuela, but are you really going to be surprised when he just wins?
No.
I mean, I don't want to bet him, but I'm not going to be surprised when he
yeah.
wins. I mean, I'm going to use 3s and 7s. That's all I would use in this race. Anybody else would beat me. Race number 7 is a funny race. And we'll go back to one of the more fun stakes we ran last year in New York, and that was the Suburban, that dynamic one first captain, untreated Suburban. It wasn't quite Forgo, Lord Ribot, and Foolish Pleasure, but it looked like them down the stretch with the three of them battling it out that day, and they really ran well. And Untreated's fine at a mile. When he won here at a mile last year, that was a huge speed track. I think he's the only horse that day that was able to make a closing run and win the race.
Yeah,
now, obviously, it was an overmatched field, but nonetheless, it was New Year's Eve, right? Yeah, it was nonetheless. He still ran well in there. You know, I was looking at Todd Pletcher's stats, and listen, I'm nitpicking here because he's way the horse to beat, Anthony. I'm not against him. And I want to go through some of these. Just leave this up for a second. This is the 4 to 8 month layoff in dirt routes at NYRA. These aren't terrible numbers, except Todd Pletcher's sort of not immortal when it comes to layoffs. This guy has astronomical layoff numbers. Overall at NYRA, off of 4 to 8 month layoffs in the dirt, 9 for 52. 17%, 97 cent ROI. Now let's go to his overall numbers with the same stats. Overall, he's 33 for 124, 27%. It's $1.32 ROI, which says a lot of them are super short prices, exactly like an Untreated, and they're winning at a high percentage, but they're not winning to their odds. And then you look at the routes. He's 20 for 67, $1.42 ROI. So he's 14 for 39 outside of NYRA, which we're going to probably guess there's a lot of Gulfstream Park wins because he does so well there. And it just feels like the ones that have come back at NYRA, they've underperformed. And that worries me a little bit because is he better than these? Yeah, but he's also a bit of an issue horse. And this isn't a bad field, Anthony. There's a lot of horses in this race, a lot of them that have a right to run okay in here.
You and I see this race completely differently. I think this horse is a lead pipe cinch today. Okay. I think he's been running against horses that would demolish this field.
What about his last race? That doesn't bother you at all? The last race he ran in October?
The last race wasn't very good. He went to the bench.
Right. That's not a bother to you?
Well, the last time he came back from an April to November layoff, he ran against allowance horses and he crop dusted them.
Yep.
And he's coming off a similar layoff now against what I think is inferior competition to what he's run against, and he's going to crop dust them.
Okay. We'll talk about some other horses in this race because I see it very, very differently in here. One of them is Southern District.
I think part of the reason is the trainer. I think if this horse was trained by somebody else, you wouldn't see it differently.
What does that mean, Anthony?
I think you'd see it completely differently.
Well, why don't you tell us what that means? I put up stats. I'm talking
I
about
know.
the stats. Well, what are we discussing?
I know.
What are you saying?
You put a lot of negative Todd Pletcher stats up there.
I put up stats and they're
There's
negative.
a lot of negative
I put up
Todd Pletcher stats
positive
put up
Todd
on the
Pletcher
screen.
stats when I find them.
There's a lot of negative Todd Pletcher stats
I
put on
put
the
up
screen.
positive stats when I find
That's
them.
what I
and I put up
noticed on
negative
the
stats when I
program.
find them.
See a lot
I'm
of
certainly going to
negative
put them
Todd
up.
Pletcher stats on the
Well,
show.
when I find a negative stat,
That's
for a
what I
horse,
see. That's what I know.
Yeah, I understand that you're trying to cause problems. I understand what you're
No,
doing.
no, I'm not.
No, you are, but that's fine. But
If
the
you,
fact
can make,
is,
if you can make a real case for somebody against this horse that when he runs against allowance horses, he wins. And when he runs in graded stakes races, he gets beat. And you want to make a case for
I just put up a
Curlin's-
stat.
For Curlin's wisdom,
I just put up a
who
stat.
beat Total Impact and
Who you have second?
Gasoline.
Who you have second? Okay.
I got to put somebody second. If I could have made this race 6, 6, 6, 6,
I put up a
I
stat
would
for a
have.
horse that's 8-5 morning line off a layoff,
Yeah.
and you're telling me that I'm doing it to pick on Todd Pletcher. Believe me, Todd Pletcher doesn't need to be picked on. He's complimented ad infinitum by me and everybody else for right reasons.
Okay.
But he has layoff stats in New York that aren't good, and I put them up. And I believe, listen, I believe I'm doing a service to the public. You think that I should be defending trainers. I get it, but I don't believe that's a service to the public. Now, we showed Southern Impact District's race. Southern District's a horse that at one time in his career could have been very dangerous in here. And the race we showed, he ran one of those races. You don't think he's a little bit interesting in here?
I don't really. He's the infamous 5th pick, but the blinkers have helped his last 2. He's been a puzzle. When Chad Brown had him, he went turf, dirt. They tried to figure him out. Norm Cash claimed him for a pretty big number. That's a gutsy move to reach in for a horse for 100 dimes that Chad Brown couldn't figure out. Everything from the Vosburg to mile and 3/8 turf races on his card within a year of each other.
But how did he do since he got claimed?
He's done okay. He's done surprisingly
Ran a
well.
very, very fast
So now
race,
he
I
went from, but hold on.
Well, you like
He's
flying
now
these
went
horses
from
off the plane.
Churchill and Laurel to 1 turn, 2 turn, to now we got to figure him out against a horse that's been competitive in graded stakes, a horse that's going out for a barn that's been white hot in Linda with Curlin's wisdom, and the horse has been in good form before the barn got white hot. And this horse has been off the board one time on a sloppy track where the horse just might not want to stand up on a sloppy track anymore. Market Alert caught a flyer and went wire to wire last time. This horse is in tough today, and he might be the second choice.
Okay. Well, Southern District's a horse that I've been on record as saying was a one-turn dirt horse his whole career. A horse that I was critical of Chad Brown for running him on the turf repeatedly when he clearly was a better dirt horse, and that was shown when he went to the dirt. So I'm on record with that horse. I think he's in the right spot for Tom Morley, and off his last race, he's dangerous. As far as the Bourbon Calling King Kublai race last time, now you saw Market Alert is dressed up out of that race because he was able to waltz along on the front end in an uncompetitive situation. But you look at how well he ran, and then you look at this race. Now, I don't know if Bourbon Calling and King Kublai are good enough to win here. But I thought King Kublai ran very well in this race. I mean, he was close to the pace and he was still finishing. I'm a little surprised. I'm not exactly sure where it came from. But you've got 2 horses that are coming off very, very good efforts. And now Bourbon Calling picks up Manny. I mean, I haven't talked about Curlin's Wisdom. I actually think Curlin's Wisdom will be fine going a mile. You look at that figure he ran 3 back in Patient Capital. I thought he ran well that day, taking a little out of his game, being close to the pace that was soft. Last time out, got it done. Total Impact had been in great form. He's a horse that's running big figures. And I understand that Untreated, absolutely on his good races, is going to win here. Only an idiot would argue against that. But the reality is that these kind of layoff numbers haven't worked out that well at NYRA for Todd. It's not a question of liking, disliking, going with stats or not. The stats speak for themselves. Unlike what you seem to believe and a number of trainers believe, they make the stats. I don't make them. I only use them in certain situations. Short prices, negative stats. Big prices, positive stats. Race number 8, the Damon Runyon at 6 furlongs. This is an interesting race for a number of reasons, and I think the potential pace, though it changed a little bit with East Coast Girl coming out. But Andiamo a Firenze is sort of where you start with because he's done it, and he just was in a couple of difficult spots. For whatever reason, didn't make the lead. Does he have any speed anymore? Who is he? Has he just been in the wrong races? Was he precocious as a 2-year-old and he won't run anymore? I don't know, but I know his good race at 2-year-old are good enough to win this race. And if he's just been in the wrong spots and he's improved at all, he's going to be tough to beat in here.
Can he be completely screwed up at this point?
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable question.
That's the problem. Because he was fast in sprints as a 2-year-old, and now he can't make the lead going long as a 3-year-old. That's not a point of trying to, he just can't make the lead going long. I mean, that's it. And if he can't make the lead going long, he's got a fast horse in here. This don't lose, Sorry.
He doesn't have the speed to be in front of Blooms Boldly and Don't Lose Cruz. They're faster than he is.
At one point they weren't, but now they are.
Maybe. It's close. It's tough, but now they definitely don't seem to be. I mean, if he can make a lead in here, and he couldn't make it in those races, I don't know what's going on. And Kelly Breen does not have great numbers turning back. So I don't know what to do with him.
Barnes been ice cold. The 2 races the Barnes won, the horses paid $5.40, and in the last race was that last Sunday. Horse paid $6 in the complete drop down from the special weight to the quarter.
So we'll look at the What's Up Bro Looms Boldly race, and you can talk about it since you picked What's Up
So
Bro.
What's Up Bro, I can't remember the name of him. The Mott horse got bothered at the start when the jockey fell off the horse next to him. And the Mott horse was supposed to show speed, and so he still worked out a really good trip. The time before, he got himself involved in a pace. This horse, I think, works out the right trip behind the pace. You mentioned how Looms Boldly. You mentioned how Don't Lose Cruz both have speed. If Andiamo La Firenze shows up, the old one that had some speed, there's a chance to at least have a little bit of pace in here. And I just think this horse, he can save ground behind the speed and kind of just have that same covered up, produce trip. I don't know how the board shakes out here, but I think he'll be that 3-1. I mean, imagine Don't Lose Cruz. East Coast Girl was 9-2 on the morning line, so fourth choice on the morning line. So I don't know how. It probably won't affect his price that much.
I don't think you can. I'm not going to bet horses at half the price they were when they won the time before off a perfect trip and hope they get them again. But obviously, he does project to get a decent trip in here. I thought he was a good bet last time. I don't think it's a great bet today at a shorter price, and I do think it is at least worth pointing out that he's back off Lasix, and he did run very well Lasix. Now, he also ran very well without Lasix when he broke his maiden, so I don't think it's a major concern, but I think it should be pointed out. And we'll look at Don't Lose Cruz when he beat What's Up Bro 2 back. Now, the fact is, they probably made a mistake with What's Up Bro that day. They were way too aggressive with him, which was why he was interesting last time and why he's obviously not going to be in that situation in all likelihood today. But Don't Lose Cruz was an easy winner of this race. Then they tried to go a mile. The mile just proved too far for him. He's outside of the speeds, and I just think he's just the horse to beat in here. I'm not against him. I thought he was a very, very logical horse that has a very, very good record of races, especially when he's going shorter and he draws outside the other speeds. I'm sort of 5 with 1s and 3s. I'd be surprised if anybody else won, unless you think somehow Looms Boldly is going to wire the field. But I can't imagine Don't Lose Cruz is going to let him out of his sight.
Yeah, I thought it was 1s and 5s. I was just one of those that I thought projected to get the better trip with a slightly better price. But I would be surprised if the one. I'm against Andiamo La Firenze at this point. I wanted 1s and 5s.
Race number 9 was changed with the scratch of Oh Trouble, who I'm assuming would have been a pretty heavy favorite in here. You went to the 5.
Yeah, first time Rob Atras. I thought this race was 1s and 5s. I was just going to try to beat Old Trouble off the void claim, the drop down. I didn't have much of an opinion in here. First time Rob off of a trainer that doesn't have a lot of success in New York, who shipped up last time. Rob's barn's going well. I didn't love the fact that he had to stay at the level and actually drop a little bit, but there wasn't much in here. Double scratch. I had the race 5-1-10, so I double scratched into my second pick. So I wasn't too thrilled with anything else in here. I'll use all 4 of my horses now to round out the pick 5 because I just did not have a very strong opinion in here.
It's a tricky race. I don't disagree. I thought my friend's beer has been in good form. I didn't think the other half of the entry would really take much money, so I didn't think he'd be badly affected by it. I don't have a big opinion. I like Masked Marauder, who scratched it here, and I'm going to go with the number 2. There's so many horses that are just difficult to trust in this race. I mean, what do you do with Bourbon Bay, who could be the controlling speed, but he's a tough horse to bet off his last race where he was eased. I mean, where did that come from? He drops down again, but I don't think he's totally impossible here. What do you do with a horse like Dark Storm that's been in bad form, claimed by somebody is now moving up? But I'm not familiar with this trainer, though she has won some races out of town.
Yeah, no, she's won a handful of races. I don't know what to do
Could
with
be
it.
forward here a little bit.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not a Musical Heart fan, but are you going to be so shocked when Musical Heart shows up for Jacobson? There's some randomness in him.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's totally impossible. I think there's a lot of variables in the last race that are going to be very difficult to overcome. That's today's card. Head over to NYRA Bets. If you're not a member of NYRA Bets, no better time than the present to join. Use the promo code BONUS200. We will match for $200 of your initial deposit. We have a third pick 4. That'll be in race number 3. 2, 3, and 6 for the pick 4s today. We have a $15 bonus if you bet 50 or more at Aqueduct, Oakland, or Santa Anita. Opt in over at NYRA Bets. And finally, 3 to 6 on FS1 today. Oh, FS1 today. 3 to 6 covering our action and Oakland's from 3 to 6 today. Have a great day. Chris Griffin up next with a reprise of the Scratches and Changes.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.